Hey, welcome back. This is just an update of sorts, letting you know where things kind of stand. I have written two new Star Wars horror novels, um, and they'll both be featured here in the update. The first one is Hoth Below Zero. Now, this one is inspired by a conversation that happened several months ago in the Rule of Three. Um, with Theory, Dash, and Stoops. So actually, it was probably more than a year ago. At any rate, um, Theory had stepped away from the camera, and um Dash and Stoops were having a conversation about how interesting it might be if there was a Hoth horror novel. They have, their own versions of it, and I hope to see something from them, on where their creativity's taking it. But this is an itch I couldn't scratch. So I needed to do something about it, and Hoth Below Zero is my result. It isn't um, like scary in the natural sense, it's more atmospheric, siege ish in the horror genre. And yeah, there's all sorts of things that we could work with Hoth, of course. But I think the most frightening thing is the planet itself. And what we saw in Empire, it was just a sampling, of how conditions can be, but those are under, tame conditions, to use the term, in my opinion. Now, a planet like that would be brutal. Beyond brutal, beyond our comprehension of brutal. And that's what I was trying to achieve. Now, the story itself follows, well, in my head canon anyway, the fire control unit for the ion cannon shortly after it's destroyed by an AT-AT. And the team has to navigate the destroyed base, the subterranean levels that meander all over the place under the base, and incorporates a lot of the natural features of Hoth itself subterraneanly in the glaciers. Because there's only brief windows, just in looking up, Hoth lore, where actual survival is possible on the planet's surface. I tried to wrap all of that in there, and this was my result. So it will be available in the description below, just as a Dropbox link. You're free to do whatever you want with it. Read it, share it. I would highly recommend running this through some kind of a speech app, Speechify, Natural Reader, 11 Labs, if you have any of those, just because it is so long. Yeah, it ended up being a lot longer than I intended, but hey, the story write themselves sometimes. Keep in mind, if you do use a reader, that it is AI voiceover, and that thing does make a lot of mistakes when it comes to pronunciations and skipping phonetics and sentences and things of that nature. Also, keep in mind that both of these that are going to be featured here are, I wouldn't call them final drafts, because there's still work that can be done to them. But I use a lot of the fan fiction as kind of a staging or experimental ground for a lot of the writing I do on a professional level. And so I work with certain things that are new to me, but like old to the profession, and then these are both examples of that. So there may be, parts in them where they may be a little long-winded or using narrative prose that's overused in some spots, but at any rate, take that with a grain of salt, and certainly let me know, in the comments, or email attached to the pages or the channel's homepage, what your thoughts are on the books, the stories, anything really, good or bad. And if you have any ideas on any projects that have been tickling your mind too, I mean, let me know. Get together on some of this stuff. That's what this community's for. So that's Hoth Below Zero. And then next I have Dead Reckoning. This is the Koureye mission. Now, for any of you following the Ahsoka narrations, this is a direct spin-off of the mission that was heavily referenced and set up in Book 2 in the early chapters. This leans more towards the Joe Schreiber style of Star Wars horror storytelling. Now, by no means is this Joe Schreiber-esque. I couldn't even tie that guy's shoes, but this is an attempt at a paranormal twist within Star Wars horror. At least fan fiction horror. Relies heavily on EU canon. And for that reason, there's kind of a surprise entry that will be utilizing an entity that is very much unutilized in Star Wars lore. And I won't give you any more than that, but this features Miara Larte, first brought to life by E.K. Johnston in the Ahsoka novel years ago, and also has Cara Dune. I found a good insertion point, and this is exactly her kind of I don't know how to phrase it, her kind of story, I guess, where she gets to be her badass self. Yeah. So at any rate, both of these books are Dropbox links in the description below. You can also find them through my link tree, which is on the channel's homepage as well. And this leads me then to the Zannah project, Dark Vows, the first book, Inheritor. Now, about a month ago, I said it was several weeks out, and I've kind of shot past that deadline. But the story itself got better because of the editing that I was doing. The first draft was okay, but it wasn't where I thought it should be. Then I went back and picked up certain elements of Drew Karpyshyn's entire Bane trilogy and found certain insertion points for a lot of the EU lore established there. And after doing that, the Zannah story is starting to flesh out a lot better. So it'll be several more weeks before we really get to that release here, but it'll be in the same format or whatever, a Dropbox link below, and you're free to do whatever you want with it. But there's a lot more coming for that particular story. And I guess they'd also say that one I need to get out before I can do anything else with Ahsoka. I know in the narrations I'm still towards the end of book 2, so we haven't even gotten to book 3 yet, and that's going to take some time anyway. But I had already started writing a 4th and possibly 5th entry into Ahsoka's story, and also another spin-off from where Nera leaves off. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into that if we haven't even gotten to book 3 of this Ahsoka thing. At any rate, this is getting too long. Yeah, all of the books will be in the description below. Do whatever you want with them. Please comment either way, because it's your feedback on this kind of helps dictate where what I'm doing with my time, especially on fan fiction, because I mean it's not monetizable or anything like that, so it's basically whatever you guys want. Anyways, let me know, and I will make sure to get back to at least trying to finish book 2 for Ahsoka, and before I go any further with her story. But anyway, that's all for now. Talk to you soon.